request or talk about ingress and egress from the access road or even from Leopard, right? So and I've had many conversations with the developer or his or her agent.
Well,
right?
I know when I called you last night, you acted surprised about that. Because
Yes,
I had a conversation with the developer several months ago as well. And this morning I asked Councilman Lerma, I said, do you know they're accessing this from Toloso? And he said, no, I was always told it was going to be from the interstate.
And this is, for example, even when we took, and it kind of started off rough, right? But this was the proposal. There was never a proposal presented to us that said, hey, we want to come off, the access road or Leopard or anything like that. Now, they could request that, when they do platting or zoning or whatever, because as I understand, Flint Hills owns all of the property, even though it's zoned residential, oddly enough, they own all of that land. So if the developer got with the owner and talked about other ingress egress points, certainly that could be added to this. But right now, this is the case that they presented. And
Well,
that's
just
what
for
we're
the
bringing forward.
edification of the council, the little subdivision layout you see there to the north of this property with the cul-de-sacs and what, there used to be homes there. Flint Hills bought all of that and moved the homes out. So it is now their property to do with as they will, but they moved all the homes out of there several years ago. So I guess I think this is a good project. We like this project. I'm disappointed that more people in Douglas Estates were not contacted about this, being that Flint Hills has also bought almost all the homes on Toloso Road, although I did drive by there, and there's about 4 homes left there immediately across the street from this development.
Correct.
That aren't owned, I guess, by Flint Hills.
No, it's correct. And we had a visitor, one lady showed up at Planning Commission to understand the project better, yet she still didn't submit an opposition.
Right.
She basically said something that I've never heard before. She said, whatever is best for the city. And it almost
Oh my God, we
blew
need to
me
get
away.
her and give her a crown.
I know. I said we should build a statue for her out in the front.
Nobody
right?
ever
Because
says that.
she's from
well,
the greatest generation, yeah.
Yeah, I feel really sorry for my friends that are left there in Douglas Estates. They're essentially being now squeezed on all sides by industrial development. And whereas a lot of this was originally all zoned for, the Shriners came in and bought a big piece of property which was originally zoned for residential development, and they changed it, and that's where they built the Shrine Temple, which is a fine organization. If maybe through signage or something, Al, maybe we could encourage that there be more left-hand turns out of this
Understood.
property. Maybe we could do that. And visit with the developer and Flint Hills and say, we still have some concerns about truck traffic going down, because this will be a 24/7 operation.
24/7.
And
yes,
so
right.
the people in Douglas Estates, is those 8, and I've had complaints from the people at Douglas Estates about the truck traffic in years past. And they'll be going up and down that street all hours of the day and night, and on weekends as well. So it's just something we need to be concerned about, and hopefully we can work through that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Hernandez?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess there's no plating for this yet, so we're just talking about zoning, right?
Correct.
I see the concerns that Councilman Pusley has on this, not having a direct access to the 37 frontage. But if Flint Hills owns that property, I don't see how it wouldn't be able to give up an easement for that intersection. Just where that would be located, you'll have to figure that out with TxDOT, right?
True. Or even if they will let you have the access point, right?
Right. And that's a big issue because the off-ramp is right there too.
Correct.
What was the opposition to this? I mean, because I'm looking at all along 37, there's really very few fueling stations.
There was no opposition. The elderly.
No. When I say opposition, what was the opposition on the planning committee? The planning commission, because there's really not a lot of gas stations on 37 from, I guess, until you don't get it until you get to Violet Road. There's really not, there's maybe 2 or 3.
Plan Commission agreed with us that it's a great development, but it would be a better development with an SP. And the SP is to protect the little residents that are there for now, right? So that, the CG2 couldn't come in with something that's just incompatible with the residential uses.
I mean, I think it's a good project. Provide another retail area for those neighborhoods. There's not a lot of retail around them,
That's true.
so I don't have any issues with it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Smith?
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the denial of zoning change to CG2 General Commercial District and approve thereof approval of a.
Your microphone.
Oh, I'll start again.
You got to start all the way at the
Okay.
beginning.
This is
As
a
written.
motion to approve the Planning Commission and staff's recommendation, which is denial of the zoning change to CG2 and in lieu thereof, approve of a ON/SP Neighborhood Office District with a special permit, the Texan.
Second.
Second? Okay. Any
Third.
fourth? Any further discussion? Great.
We need to open it up.
We didn't open the public hearing.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and open public hearing. Do we have anyone in the audience that would like to make public comment on item number 21?
We are installing these beautiful artistic walkways that you can see behind me. And why is that important for Corpus Christi as a whole? Because it is improving one area of town that will bring other people from different areas of town to see what this is all about. And this is all about creating vibrancy and character to this beautiful area and historic area of Corpus Christi.
We chose these specific types of crosswalks through community input, which was received by the property owners around the 6 Points area. I'm really excited about this. You know, this is something that I've brought forward to the City Council, and with their support, it's just another way that we can improve the City of Corpus Christi.
Kyle, numerous DAG applications by the city that has helped us, especially during times of restricted federal budgeting. And so, once again, like Tammy said, it's the last clear zone. So we are protected in terms of those areas. And we're going to continue along with the new ordinance passed as well by you. Thank you for the military compatibility overlay area districts. So once again, just thanks for all the support. You guys are great, and the city is great. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Tammy.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Yes,
All in
Tammy.
favor? Oh, no, I'm going to close public comment, I'm sorry. And then motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The motion carries. So we just have 22, correct?
Yeah, we're ready to go on that one now.
We're ready to go?
Let's see, 22.
Yeah, 'cause
Yes,
we don't.
yeah, that one's ready, the Parks
Okay.
Master Plan.
Go
So,
back to item number 22 then.
right, Parks Director Robert Dodd will present this one.
Okay.
And just as some background context, we have worked with several of the council members in particular where these parks reside, various steps in the development of the master plans. And so today, we're ready to show these to the entire council. These will guide many, many years of development. This is not something we're going to be able to do overnight because of the financial investment that's necessary. But these are good planning tools for the community to be aware of, and then for staff and the council to be aware of as we move into the future. These will be great guiding plans for these two regional parks. And with that, I'll turn it over to Robert.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mayor, Council, and I know we'll edit this just a little bit. If we can go to the overview page. Page 2, I believe. No. That's okay. I'll start from there. That's just showing the amenities. But one of the strategies listed in our Parks and Recreation 10-year master plan is to prepare an illustrative master plan for development and redevelopment of municipal parks. The two master plans are conceptual renderings of the parks and can be developed. Beginning in March of 2022, two master plans studies were undertaken to assess the Labonte Park and Cole Park systems, respectively, by identifying existing amenities and deficiencies in both parks. The Parks and Recreation Department, the Engineering Department, and Levi Dykema for the development of the two, worked on the development of the two master plan. As a result, the two studies master plans will be used to guide and develop future capital improvement projects. Master plans will enhance the city's opportunities to qualify and compete for state funding throughout the Texas Park and Wildlife Department. And then if we want to move forward, I think. Here's some pictures for Labonte Park and some of the amenities that we have, including picnic tables, a kayak launch, waterfall trail, boardwalk, and large gathering pavilion. The conceptual rendering is compared, there we go. The conceptual rendering, this conceptual rendering is a campground site showing the direction of the proposed bathhouse and restroom and shower facility. The RV sites will be fully full service and not primitive. Moving next, some of the other amenities that are on this bird's eye view of the south portion of the park would be an overlook an elevated overlook and a winding trail. The bonding park we would put trees in there that would be oak trees that would help some of the play areas and the observation deck and campgrounds. Moving forward to Cole Park. This map outlines amenities for the north portion of Cole Park. Several additional improvements are proposed, such as park trails improvements to the beach area, including a plaza with a large shade structure and stepped concrete seating in the sandy area of the beach located in the top left-hand corner of the map. Various improvements existing amenities including the amphitheater and the promenade. Renovation of the roof structure of the amphitheater is proposed along with additional formal seating and the park trail located behind the berm seating area.
The city of Corpus Christi has received a new mass casualty response unit that will be used for the entire coastal bend. This ambulance bus, or AMBUS, is 34 feet long, can hold up to 20.
My name is Vianney Rodriguez. I am the owner and recipe developer at sweetlifebake.com. So what I do is I share food all day. My first cooking memory is my abuelita and my mother making tamales together. To watch them cooking in a tiny kitchen, they would just move like, I feel like they were dancing, like one would grab something, one would stir, one would chop.
The City of Corpus Christi reminds you there are small, everyday ideas you can use to protect us from drought-related water shortages. Inside your home, install modernized plumbing, low-flow shower heads, and simply turn off the faucet when not in use. Outside your home, make smart landscaping choices, limit your watering, and don't water during the hottest part of the day. Simple choices that will save water for the community and save money on your utility bill. We can all drink to that. The City of Corpus Christi reminds you there are small, everyday ideas you can use to protect us from drought-related water shortages. Inside your home, install modernized plumbing, low-flow shower heads, and simply turn off the faucet when not in use. Outside your home, make smart landscaping choices, limit your watering, and don't water during the hottest part of the day. Simple choices that will save water for the community and save money on your utility bill. We can all drink to that.
Right, as the slide says, it says estimate of probable costs guidelines. So it doesn't say has the approved budget, it just says these are the probable costs. Just so if people like this vision, it will take time and money in the future to bring to fruition.
Right.
Well, again, thank you all for hearing me out and moving forward with this. And thank you, Mayor, for the time.
Thank you. Councilman Pusley.
Councilman Molina, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, I think these are great plans and, you know, for future development over the next 15 or 20 years or whatever it takes to do this. I think this is a great way to get started. I want to thank the Dykemas for all their work on this. Thank you very much. It's a great plan, and we appreciate all the effort you put into this. So just a couple of things. One, to reiterate what Councilman Molina said, we are not going out of here today and approving $84 million worth of spending on a couple of parks. That's not going to happen. We've got, Peter, I think you said a while ago, $1.5 million in the budget for the 2022 budget for Labonte Park. And, and maybe some additional monies are going to be in our bond package for development of
Right, yes, sir. Councilman, what I was saying is in the 2022 bond proposal that the voters are considering now, and that's on the ballot for November 8, we do have 1.125 for Cole Park, and Labonte has 1.5 million.
Okay.
Those are on the proposition
Those
B.
are on the bonds.
Right,
Okay.
so,
Okay.
and it would be specifically at Cole Park, replacement of the playground
Okay.
in Fall Zone, that's hazardous at this point. And Labonte would be to begin to implement some of this master plan,
Okay.
notably the Cunningham side, to join that with the existing Labonte Park.
So what I would suggest, and this is just my opinion, that here in the very near future, Robert, that you get with the Parks Board, and we need to find out what we can do, I think, on a 3 to 5 year time frame. What are the things that people would like to see in these two parks, especially Labonte Park, so that they can begin to utilize these parks? I drove by the demo site the other day. The old water treatment plant is almost completely gone.
Right.
So we're going to have a big piece of property there that people can utilize. Okay, what are they going to do there besides just drive out there and park? So what in the near term can we propose to plan for that park to utilize? And we need to get some input from the Parks Board. We need some input from the public that utilizes these parks, so that we can come back and make some decisions about how we do that and how we're going to spend money on doing it.
Yes, sir. Councilman, towards the end of my presentation on October, I had in here October 12th of 2022, Prague made a motion supporting the renderings in the city's effort to enhance the parks. So we have been in discussion with them, and we'll continue to be in discussion with them.
Yeah, they did. In other words, we did present this to the Parks Advisory Board, who had a very good conversation, and were they approved the forwarding the plans.
Well, I think that's great. I'm glad they like it, and I'm glad they support this overall concept. But now what I'd like to see personally is a 3 to 5 year plan. I'd like to live long enough to see something developed out here and not be 15 or 20 years down the road. So what can we do in the next 3 to 5 years, or even the next couple of years, to enhance what's there now and start putting this park property into use by the general public.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Thank you, on there. I guess on that suggestion, how about you got a master plan, start planting those trees? Little oaks grow to big oaks, on there with it, so the sooner the trees go in. A little bit of comment about the RV park on there. RV parks are businesses. They pay substantial property taxes. So I would suggest probably, I don't know what the number, but a large portion of that, RV parks are expensive. That you look out for a long-term lease and get an operator to come in there and put the park in and not have the city be in the business of running RV parks with it. And that saves substantial capital costs. I drove by the Padre Bailly Park the other day, and they've got about 5 RVs sitting in there. They've got some issues with it, and there's no telling what the county is spending because they're really not RV park operators. And I don't think our Parks Department is an RV park operator either. So that's one suggestion. Another on Cole Park, great renderings on there. You mentioned sables. You have sables and Washingtonians with it. A sable is a much slower growing tree, so you've got to buy a bigger tree. They're more expensive by the foot. Washingtonians, they take more maintenance because they grow faster, and that's the reason why. So if we want a tree that goes faster. But then the last thing is it's great. I really compliment my fellow council members on getting this through. When we're sitting here, master plan and stuff, we got Commodore's Park. And I've worked trying to get something done with Commodore's Park. We got something put on the bond with no consultation with the PRAC board, no consultation with myself, no consultation with ISAC. It was a disappointment with me on there. That's a good-sized piece of ground. I've been working with it. I've been notifying staff about it. We have good opportunities to work with adjacent developers, extend our money. So I hope we've got $1 million for Commodores. I asked that language to be broad in the bond for it. It wasn't. It's a big disappointment to me on there that we need to work with the community a lot better, just like we're doing with these on Commodore's Park with it. Again, it's a regional type area at 17 acres with it. So I think these are great moving forward with it. The Cole Park, that's a real exciting rendering. Again, get some of those trees and that promenade going on there. That touches you. And we all know Labonte, that just generations have used Labonte for, Easter. When you think of Easter, you think of Labonte Park with it. So all great additions. I hope we do the same with Commodores. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Hunter.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick note, Councilman Smith is one of the greatest RV park operators in the entire state of Texas, and that is not an exaggeration. If you look at statistical sales and hot tax money, especially per square foot, he is one of the top ones in the entire state. So if you're asking how to run an RV park, there's probably no better person to hear from than him.
Maybe he can run it.
He is about to sign off on council, so we might be knocking on your door, Councilman. Mine's going to be real quick. We had Mayor Adame back in the day, started the process of Palms on Ocean Drive and the Bayfront. The problem with those is not only do we have complaints about maintenance on them, even though I think that we have done a great job with them, it's expensive, and it doesn't provide much shade. And ever since we've been on council, especially with me, the mayor, and Councilman Smith, we have never stopped here, and Councilman Molina, we have never, we're the 4 old people? Okay. Yeah. Everyone complains about shade. It's the biggest problem, and if you want to be the greatest parks director in the history of Corpus Christi, because they have never listened to us, ever. We need shade, and we need resting spots, maybe even some extra trash cans here and there. Because if you do look at Cole Park, go down to where the water meets the land, and we will be very disappointed how much trash is there rather than in trash cans. I thank you, and I think it looks great. It's probably going to take a while to get there, but I appreciate all the work y'all have done. Thank you, Mr. Dykema.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Barrera?
Thank you, Mayor. Just something along the same lines. First off, it looks amazing. I think we need to have master plans on, I call them people centers. And, having an idea of where we want to go in. But I just want to ask, what public outreach do we have, Robert?
We've gone to PrAC, and we've talked to several of y'all and gone to different. This was started in March, so go ahead.
Good afternoon, Kevin Johnson, Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation. The individuals who we've talked to are sitting here, council members, and we did also speak with PrAC about this.
Okay, I guess since it's a long-term plan, we'll be able to make some adjustments if necessary.
Yes.
It's just because I brought up some ideas. I grew up out here, like I said, and things that I remember were fun are throwing around a football, and I worry about having a great lawn. That's one of the things about the great lawn that we have over at the water's edge. Just some stuff like that. I think I also brought up the fact about typically the food trucks are parked in that parking area right now where the parking lot is. Where the playground is, simply because that's where all the people are. And we talked about hookups and I don't want to be passive aggressive and say, don't get me wrong. What is it? But I think that's the thing. I think it's beautiful. It's without a doubt, it's beautiful. We've come a long ways. It's just like the comments I was making about Josh. This is great. I think sometimes, as I've said before, whether it be McGee Beach, whether it be North Beach, if we talk to the stakeholders, that goes a long way. As I brought up about the Greenwood baseball fields.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk to the stakeholders and find out who it is that's utilizing it. I know I've seen, when we had a space that wasn't too far from there, and on Thursdays you see everybody at the Bay Jamming Series. You see them walk across, and I was so glad that through Ben's initiative we created a crosswalk there, because people were just walking across the street with lawn chairs to do that. I just talking to us and talking to PrAC, I would just hope that we go a little bit further. And that way we give great direction to Levy Dykema, because we give them an idea and they make it all beautiful, and it's like, we probably didn't include everybody. That's what I'm feeling right now.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, and I misunderstood your question, but we got feedback from y'all. It's PrAC, ISAC, and some other, and then again, these are renderings. And
ISAC?
No, not ISAC.
Yeah, I'm curious why we talked to ISAC, but. It's okay. It's okay. I'm just saying that.
I'm sorry. And we've got feedback from them, but obviously these are renderings and helpful tools for us, and then we'll get some more feedback as we move forward with these projects.
Yeah, and I just encourage you to do so, because sometimes PrAC feels like was brought up, they feel left out of the loop, and bringing something like this is beautiful. I'm excited. Boy, I would have loved to have some input, because the boardwalk is amazing. What is it? The boardwalk is amazing. We put the money into the budget for the shade in Cole Park. That was a debate for next year, right? Correct, right? There's money for the shade over the pier in Cole Park, and that was up for debate. We said, no, we want to put it in there because it's needed. The same thing with the splash pad, what have you. It's just if you extend it out and people are expecting it and they feel like they have input, then us taking it to the community and saying, hey, we want to spend this money for this, it's all that much easier. So that's all I'm asking from you guys. Let's talk to the stakeholders.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Councilman, I'm going to strongly agree with you, but I'm going to ask Peter to rewind this process, because not every council member was spoken with, and not every council member did give input. And this park, although every park sits in a district, this park is it's a regional park. This is a city park, and so every council member should have been given some input into what your thought. All of them. all of them. I mean, I don't, you're an advocate of the Northwest area, and I respect that, but you also represent the West Side, and you represent the East Side, and you represent, the South Side. And so, we all should have input, and I don't think that happened, and that needs to. And to your point, even more importantly, would be, I can't have that conversation if I didn't have input into it to our stakeholders. And the other thing I'm going to strongly suggest, which I have told you before, there's a really easy way to do that. And I keep up with San Antonio's because I like to see everything they're doing. And I get texts that say, give us your thoughts on what should go into this park with a simple link. It is so easy. This, business of coming together, and that's just so, it's outdated. It is appreciated, but if you can't get down to the survey, a survey could be online, which is easier, but on your phone, and it cannot be rocket science. We're the 8th largest city. Let's get to the point where we can send out a text to say, what are your thoughts on this? And there's a link. They do it for everything in San Antonio. And that is being inclusive, because we would easily, right, take the phone and go, oh, wow, I get to give input on a park, click on the link and fill out your little deal, and you're done. And that's just as easy as the people that are registered on our news releases, right? Or whatever, for that matter. 311, I don't know how those cross over. But we really have to make it easier, because these master plans are extremely important, but they must have everyone's input. It is not about a district. It is about every council member and constituents giving their 2 cents as to what should be in that park. And I don't think every council member got that. They weren't extended that invitation. So I think we need to go back and y'all should look to see who did and who didn't. Councilman Hernandez.
Okay, thank you. And I guess my question is somewhat along the lines of what you heard from the mayor and Councilman Barrera. When Half Engineering did the work on Bill Witt Park for the master plan, they got stakeholders like the Little League, South Padre Little League, the South Padre Soccer League, the Little Miss Kickball. Myself was intimately involved in the master planning that. They did surveys of residents within District 5. Did any of that happen with this particular master plan for either of these parks?
Mr. Dykema, did we have any of that?
I don't believe so.
No, not from our side.
Okay, so that's a little bit of a difference, because, we got involvement of the actual stakeholders that utilize the park regularly. Now, it's a different park. I get it. I was not asked on either of these parks. That's okay. They're not in my district specifically. And Councilman Smith, I do recommend an aquatic center over at Commodore's Park that can be paid for with TERS money. Just a recommendation.
A splash pad.
I think aquatic center is better. And I'm an advocate for this, because I think we need to teach our kids how to swim, and the island even more so, because they're surrounded by water. I don't want another Josiah Smith. I don't want another Andrew Bass. I don't want another Christopher Gregory. Now, Christopher Gregory drowned in the lake in Lago Vista in 2016. Okay? It's important that we have these facilities, and it should be part of our master planning. I'd like to see Greenwood Park this pool at Greenwood redone. The better, and especially on the west side, that they need to know how to swim. They don't have the facilities. They're not going to go to the nauditorium. CCISD has a somewhat of a small program where they try to teach third graders, but it's not enough. So it's important that you include those in there. And if you would have gotten my input on it, I would have said, where's the pool? Where are we putting them? When are we going to replace the ones that are, 40 years old? We spent a lot of money putting a plan together for the one that we're going to put it at Bill Witt. Knock on wood, make sure it passes the bond. But I'd like to see those all over the city. Not just in District 5. It's important we teach our kids how to swim. And that goes to also to PrAC. You, in your agenda memo, it says you talked to them on October 12th, and then you asked them to approve it on October 12th. And they had some suggestions, but it doesn't say whether or not any of the suggestions were taken into consideration. It seems like we need, if we're just seeing them as a rubber stamp, then we're not really utilizing them very well. They need to be on the front end of these things, not on the back end. They're not stakeholders. I mean, they're stakeholders in the sense that they're offering their time and volunteering their time in order to provide that kind of input. And yet, all we're showing them is the end result. I don't think that's the appropriate use. If we're going to do that, we don't need them. Right? Okay? So I think, you know, those plans are great. I just don't think there was a lot of involvement on people on this, and I asked that specifically, did we do it on the front end, like we did at Billwood? Right? Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Lerma.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, since I got on board, one of the first conversations Peter and I had was basically Labonte Park, the gateway into Corpus Christi. I told people, look at it. What does it need? Well, it needs a total overhaul. And I'm just thrilled that we were able to put Labonte Park with a master plan. You know, that was very important that we started that conversation, and we're at that point. Now, as far as the public input, if I'm mistaken, did we not have a study done on all our parks through a company that had input from many residents throughout the entire city?
Yes, right, Councilman. Yeah, the 10-year Parks Master Plan that took over a year to complete.
Yes, sir. I remember that because I remember we sat in that.
Right.
So we had a lot of input from our residents on basically what is it that they wanted to see in parks. But I agree with the mayor. The tools nowadays that we have, you know, you on these two parks, you could give a list of 10 items and let the public choose which of the 10, pick 5 of those 10 that are most important, or the top 5, that's what we're going to put in these parks. That would be an easy way to send it out, to where they get to pick and choose what is it that they want to see in those parks and improvement. But we give them 10 items that the city can afford. And out of those 10 items, you pick the top 5. You know, that would be an easy way. But, you know, I'm grateful for all the input that this council has done. I know that they're interested in parks because that's why we have it on a bond, because we heard the residents saying that our parks need to be improved. During the pandemic, where did the public go? They went to our parks. What did they see? They didn't like what they saw. So that's why we're adding money to our parks. Little bit at a time. This master plan on Labonte Park, Cole Park, that's not a 2-year plan. That's a 10 to 15-year plan. Yeah, or the rate's gonna go up, probably, you know, that kind of thing, but at least we have something on paper that we can show the public that we're moving forward on parks. These are 2 major regional parks that will be used constantly. Cole Park's always got people on it. Labonte is the entrance of Corpus. We need to give them a better vision of what Corpus Christi really looks like. We need to have improvements out there. Are they all gonna come at one time? No. But we have a master plan. We're able to work on it. Will it change that master plan? Yeah. 5, 10 years from now, it'll change. People will want different things, you know, and that's what we'll go by. You know, but I'm thankful to Peter and his staff for putting the master plans, Dykema with their drawings, which I greatly appreciate. I mean, it's just a vision, you know, it's something that we can look forward to. That's not probably what it's going to look like. It's going to probably change several times by the time we get them all done, you know, but I'm greatly appreciated of that we're looking at our parks, and that's important. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Pest? Did you?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I guess I'm a little confused, Mayor, by your comments. Maybe it's because the campaign trail I've gotten sensitive.
You're a sensitive guy. Come on.
I know, I'm a sensitive guy. But I just want to say, I've not had any personal meetings with Dykema or anybody else about the planning of either one of these parks, either one of them. I never had.
No means that.
The only input I've had at Labonte is I've been on Peter's doorstep since the ink dried on my certification to be on this council to tear down that old water treatment plant that's been abandoned since 1984. That was my only input. But as far as the master plans or any of that, I never had anything to do with planning either. They called me one day and said, hey, you want to come up and look at this master plan? And they showed it to me, and it was extremely nice. Like I said a while ago, it's overwhelming to swallow all at one time. But, and my input here and what I said a while ago is, I think the Parks Director and the Parks Board play a role in this, but they don't play the only role. So I'm trying to make this very clear. We need input from the community, and as Councilman Lerma said, Half Engineering spent a bunch of time taking surveys from people about what we should have in our parks, and we need to review that. Is it appropriate for every park? I don't know. Let's look at what they came up with. It's been a few months since I read that plan. But we need input from the council. Many of the council members have really good input. Councilman Smith's input about us not getting into RV park business is a good one. I've never understood, even though I spent 9 years there, why the county's in the RV park business. And Greg, I tried many times to get them out, but it was to no avail. The city has an RV park up at Sunrise Beach at Lake Corpus Christi that you run, and from all I've heard, you do a pretty good job on that. But we need input from council members. The ideal about a swimming pool out in the Northwest, that's a great ideal. We only have one. We have one at Guth Park, and that's it. I mean, one at Labonte Park might be a great ideal, but those are the kind of things that we can glean from council members. And the only thing about our Parks Board is, and I've harped about this for a long time, many of our boards that we appoint people to in this committee don't represent a cross-section of this entire city. They represent people who live in one area or not. And I've often said that we have a real shortage of people who live in the Northwest or on the west side of Corpus Christi who have an opportunity to have input. So I haven't had any input on these plans. I have some ideals. I'm sure other council members do too. We all should have an opportunity to do that, but we also should reach out to the public and say, I mean, I'm not going to camp overnight at these parks, but there are a lot of people who will. We need their input.
Yeah, Mayor, maybe if we can change our recommendation to have these not approved today, we'll do more work with the council.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to withdraw the recommendation to have them approved. More work has to be done. But these are good guides, good starting points, I should say. And again, the Cole Park one was done primarily to figure out where to put the splash pad. That's coming to council in December for contract award. And we wanted some conceptual idea of what Labonte would look like with the demolition. Mm-hmm. And so that was the goal of the beginning of these. But let's spend more time with the community and the council, the entire council, and then we'll bring them back ultimately for adoption.
And Peter, I would also encourage us to reach out to visit Corpus Christi.
Right.
They're in charge of getting people to come here. Let's see what those people that are going to come here, what their input would be. So
yeah, I believe they were in one of our meetings, but we'll make sure they were.
Okay.
Make sure they are. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if I may add, Mayor, I wasn't finished when you called on somebody else, but I just want to reiterate, just the idea that we're doing this is amazing, because that's the thing. I've always said that when we had a park or something, it's just like, okay, let's put a barbecue pit, a couple of barbecue pits, a picnic table, and a playground, and we're done. And this idea creates this people center and this synergy and some place for people to go. And, that old adage, there's nothing to do in Corpus. Well, if you see something like this and you see a whole bunch of people there, you've all heard, my daughter lives in New York, and there's a walkable park. There's multiple walkable parks that they go to, and we've done FaceTime, and you just see all the people playing, and that's what I envision this is. I mean, it is. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We just need to engage some stakeholders. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Smith.
And I'd quickly like to follow up on that. I was at Cole Park Sunday on it, and seeing the people out there went out to the pier, obviously having a great time, walking, enjoying, a true asset for the community. So I fully agree with that. And you go out there, and that just shows what we can do.
Right, Councilman, I do have some follow-up too. I'll get you from some of the pictures you sent, so I'll get that to you. Thank you for those comments.
Okay. So. Oh, right. Okay. Peter, and you'll find out about the technology in terms of
Right, yeah.
communicating.
That's
with
something
the
that
public.
we'll have to work with our communications department.
Right. Right.
Yep.
And I'm going to touch on this for 2 seconds. It was very apparent, the couple of members said, did you reach out to PrAC, right? Were they involved? Because you've heard that over and over. You know, they need to have a part in this. And it doesn't just apply. I'm going to bring up the animal care advisory. We got problems there.
Right.
And they do not, I've never heard one recommendation come up from that board.
Right.
And that's not okay, because there are some. So I'm going to specifically ask, Peter, that you look into what is going on with that board. Why are not one recommendation coming up? Because people give of their time, and it isn't fair.
Right.
And it's very important to me.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking into it already. The fact is, they haven't met for 4 months, and that in and of itself is a big problem. So I've asked Constance to poll each of the board members to see what is what do they think is the issue, because we need to address it.
Okay.
They're not meeting because there's nothing to meet on. They're not meeting because we know why, but we generally think we know why, but we got to find out. And,
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're working on it.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dodd. All right. There being no further business, I adjourn this meeting.
You have an executive session, Mayor?
No, I don't think we need it.
Yeah, we don't need
Argo
to-
pulled it?
All right. Well, that's on cabinets. Yeah. Okay. Meeting adjourned. That was for cabinets, right? If we needed it.